AITA for not getting my ex's affair child a Christmas gift? I, 38F, was married to my ex, 42M, for 10 years. During the last few years of our marriage, he cheated on me. I found out after he fathered a child with the woman he had an affair with. It was one of the most painful and humiliating experiences of my life. The affair baby is now a little girl for F. Her biological mother is not in her life. She walked away shortly after she was born. My ex ended up with full custody of her, and from what I understand, the mother side of the family isn't involved either. It's just my ex raising her. We share 3 children together, an 11-year-old son and 9-year-old twins, boy and girl. After the divorce, I was granted primary custody, and he gets them every other weekend. He's not absent exactly, but he's not really present either. He works long hours, lives almost 2 hours away, and honestly, I think he struggles with balancing everything in his life. I'll admit up front that I don't have a relationship with his daughter. I've only seen her maybe 5 times in her entire life, and it's always been in brief, distant situations. I've never interacted with her, never tried to form a bond, and frankly, I don't want to. She's innocent in all of this, and I know that. But every time I look at her, I'm reminded of the betrayal, the hurt, and the mess my ex created. I don't hate her. I just can't bring myself to let her into my world. My kids don't consider her their sister either. I haven't actively discouraged them from building a relationship with her, but I haven't encouraged it either. I figured if they wanted that connection, it would happen naturally, but it hasn't. They see her as their dad's other kid, and that's about it. Now onto the situation at hand. My ex lost his job at the start of this year. He informed the courts, and as a result, his child support payments for our kids were reduced. He found another job a few months later, but it doesn't pay nearly as well, and he's been struggling financially ever since. Our kids have noticed. When they visit him, they mention the difference in lifestyle, the smaller meals, the lack of activities, and the fact that his house just feels sadder. A few weeks ago, he warned our kids that Christmas would be small this year. He told them he couldn't afford big gifts and asked them to keep their expectations realistic. They seemed to understand, and I reassured them that Christmas at home with me would still be special. Then, during one of our co-parenting conversations on the app we use, he brought up his daughter. He told me he could only afford one gift for her, a cheap doll from the dollar store. He said he felt awful that she wouldn't have more to open on Christmas morning and asked if I'd be willing to get her something small. Just one gift, so she'd have a little more magic on Christmas. I told him no. I wasn't rude about it. I simply said she's not my responsibility. My focus is on my 3 kids, and I'm already doing everything I can to make their Christmas special. He didn't push further, and I thought that was the end of it. But then came this past weekend. He had the kids for his scheduled visit and dropped them back off at my house on Sunday evening. When he came inside briefly to say goodbye, he noticed the Christmas tree and the mountain of gifts beneath it. I'd gone all out this year, partly because I wanted to make up for the emotional struggles they've been through with the divorce, and partly because I can afford to. He asked me, point blank, if I'd gotten anything for his daughter. When I said no, he looked at me like I just told him I'd kicked a puppy. He pulled out that cheap doll from the dollar store, still in its flimsy plastic packaging, and told me, this is all she's getting. This one doll. His voice cracked, and for a moment, I saw how utterly defeated he felt. He said, she's just 4. She didn't ask to be born into this mess. She doesn't understand why her mom left. She doesn't understand why her siblings don't like her or why their mom doesn't even want to acknowledge her. All she knows is that she doesn't have anyone except me. He went on to say that if he took whatever little money he had and spent it on more gifts for her, our kids would notice and resent him even more. But if he focused on getting our kids something decent, then his daughter would suffer. Either way, he felt like he was failing someone. He told me I could have helped, that even if I didn't want to buy her something myself, I could have encouraged our kids to include her in their thoughts. Maybe they would have wanted to pick out a gift for her if I just nudged them a little. Instead, he said, you've made sure she feels even more unwanted, even more alone. He left after that, angry and upset, and I just stood there in my warm, decorated house with presents piled under a glittering tree, feeling hollow. I know I'm not obligated to do anything for his daughter. She's not mine. She's not my responsibility. And yet, I can't shake the image of that little girl waking up on Christmas morning to one tiny, cheap doll while my kids tear into a pile of brightly wrapped presents. I've tried to justify it to myself. I've told myself that it's not my problem, that my ex created this mess, and that he needs to figure it out. But at the same time, she's 4. Just 4. So, Reddit, AITA? Am I the bad guy for refusing to buy her a Christmas gift? Or is this one of those situations where I should have been the bigger person, even if I didn't have to be?